2 days ago, I took this trade. It took me exactly 2 minutes to make over $1,000 on XAUSD gold. I'm going to show you the exact scalping strategy that I used to make this so that you can go after this video, practice this and try this on your own. I'm over here on the 1 minute chart on XAUSD gold. The strategy is going to be based around scalping gold just on the 1 minute time frame. And you will notice if you've watched a couple of my other trading videos before that I focus a lot on institutional and smart money concepts when trading. But this is a recent scalping strategy that I recently discovered and tried it out, and it has a very successful win rate, and it's also very easy to understand, and it's also very quick. Trades can last anywhere between 1 and just a couple of minutes before we close and take profits. So to go and get started, we just need to go and click on the indicators tab on the top or in the middle of your tab over here. You'll see it looks like this. You just need to go and search MACD over here. I use this specific indicator here, the MACD 4C. So if you click on this, it'll add to your chart. I've already got it, so I'm just going to close the other one. The way this works, instead of trading off your usual trend lines, support and resistance, Fibonacci levels, we don't really use that in this strategy. This is going to be something really quick. I don't only trade off this, I partner this up with 1 or 2 other things as well, like I'm going to explain to you. So although we're going to scalp on the 1 minute chart, what I go and do is I usually come over to maybe the 15-hour or the 4-hour chart. You firstly want to just go and get an overall trend of this market, if it's bearish, bullish. So the tool I use to go and do that is if you click on the pen section here, there is a little option that says path. So we can highlight path over here. You basically just want to go and draw arrows from to your highs and your lows to get an overall direction of this market. So over here we can see we here at the moment. If I zoom in on this, we've had a break of structure over here. So we could be looking for maybe a breakthrough and then a retest on any of S&D or demand zones over here. So here we have an unmitigated demand zone. So we could look for buys along this area to continue higher up. But this obviously is just to get an overall idea of which direction the market is going. So once we've kind of identified this, so what I can tell from my experience from trading, I definitely think gold is going to go all the way back up to the 2000 mark over here, as we have lots of imbalances and inefficiency zones over here that need to get filled. So we could see gold doing something like this. You've got some imbalances over here. So we could see gold maybe filling this to make bigger moves down. That's what we could perhaps see with gold, but this is just to get an overall trend of gold. Now, the way the scalping strategy works is we now come over all the way to the 1 minute time frame, and this is where we're going to identify where the real highs and lows are using our MACD indicator over here. So how this works is if you have a look at your MACD indicator, you can tell the different trends in the market. From this green mountain here was a bit of a bullish trend, back to bearish. Now what I'll go and do is to identify the real high is I will take the highest candle in this green mountain. For example, it would be, let me just take the horizontal line. It would be this candle here, that's the highest. You can see on my chart, that is this candle over here. And the same thing with the low. Identify the latest, what I call the red mountain or your bearish trend over here. And again, we want to go and identify the biggest candle over here. Let me just move my chart back, which would be this candle over here, which is here. So these two zones, we can go and look for buys and sells. So all I would do is I would go and identify halfway of these two zones. For example, we can just go and use the fib retracement to identify the exact 50%. Here you can see the 50% mark. So let's just put a horizontal line there. So here we've got a high, a low, and 50% of that. So what we could go and look for is a buy from this low to 50% or a sell from this high to 50%. Once you reach 50%, I will usually close partials and set a stop loss to break even. So that way it's a risk-free and a profitable trade. So when I place my trade, it will look something like this. If I go and take my short position from here, I will just drag this to 50% and we have a 1 to 1.79 trade. And for this low, we can look at long positions to the 50%, like that. Let's put target at 50% and stop loss at about a 1.6 risk to reward ratio. So over here you can see we're already actually just about to hit TP, as if you would notice, this lowest candle over here was just wicked over here. So our buy limit would have been hit and we're pretty much about to hit TP. Let's give this a few seconds and see if this hits TP. In fact, I'm also going to show you just in a bit on my phone, me doing this actually live and placing some live trades based on this 1 minute scalping strategy. As you can see over here, so far, we're really close to TP. But in the meantime, while this runs, let's open up another market. I've got over here NAS 100, or also known as US Tech, basically NASDAQ. So again, we go and do the same thing. We go and identify our highest green candle here, which is this little candle here. So we draw a line at the top of the wick, just like that. So that's a high. So at this area, we can look for sells, and we'll take our lowest red candle over here, which is this candle. So regarding NASDAQ on the 1 minute time frame, we can go and take our fib tool just to identify 50%. So we just take then a horizontal line and put it across the 0.5. So here we have a high, a low, and the 50%. So we can have a look, for example, short positions from the high to 50%, and we can look for long positions from the low to 50%. So your trades would look something like this. Now these aren't massive trades, but remember, as a scalper, trades only last a couple of minutes. They're not long day trades. So you catch a short amount of pips, maybe with a slightly bigger trade size, and that way you just catch bigger profits in a shorter period of time. Me personally, I have practiced day trading and longer term trades on bigger time frames with institutional concepts. It does work, but I personally enjoy scalping more, especially if you're busy in the day. I do run other businesses besides trading and my content. You don't always find the time, or a guy like me doesn't always find time in the day to sit in front of a chart 24/7 to look for these big day trades. Whereas with scalping, it's a couple of trades. I can trade on the go. If I'm sitting in the bus or sitting wherever I am, I can go and have a look at these markets and do a little bit of scalping throughout the day. If I come back to gold, there we go. You can see we hit 50%. I mean, TP was delivered. This was probably in less than a minute. And I mean, if we take a look from 1951,305 to 1948, this was close to 20 pips on this little trade over here, which is very solid profits on gold. So I mean, this was a perfect buy, and the win rate with this is really, I find the win rate with this is really successful. You will sometimes have losses, but that's why it's important to identify if you come over to higher time frames, especially like 1 hour or 30 minutes, just to identify an overall trend. And just to recap, the way I do that is I take the tool that's called the path tool, and I just draw arrows from lows to highs. So here you can see we maybe will get a retest of some supply and demand zones over here to go higher, or if it wants to, see this is unmitigated supply zone here, it could come and tap that to make bigger moves lower, or the market could come straight down to this unmitigated demand zone to make the move up. Now the way to identify that and to kind of prove where that's going to go, that's where you come over to the 1 minute time frame and you can get an idea of where this market wants to go. So obviously now this market has retested off this low, so this is no longer a valid low. So we delete that, or you can keep it there, and if it breaks through, you know the market's going to want to go lower. But let's go and try this live. I'm going to go and log in on my phone. I just need to get the webcam up as I'm using my current phone for my webcam. So I'm just going to quickly go and set that up, and then I'll see you right now on my phone. All right, so I'm back after the power being out for about 3 hours. I can eventually start recording again. So let's continue with the strategy. XAUSD over here formed a very bearish trend. So this is not a market I'll be looking at anymore. But over here earlier, that sell that we had, which this wick here, just missed our entry point, and take a look at how the market just died from there. But I'm going to go take another look at another market. Let's have a look at GPU AUD over here. So I'm going to go identify my latest high, which is this candle here, and then the last previous low, which is this candle here. So this would be our zone, looking for sells up top here, looking for buys down here. And we just want to identify 50%. So doing that, we take the fib retracement tool and we take it all the way to the low, and we can just highlight our 50 zone, delete fib retracement, and there we go. So as you can see over here, same kind of a concept applies here. We had our highest candle here, got tapped into our trade, came all the way back down to halfway for profits. So let's go and have a look and place our positions. We can go and look at a short position up here to 50%. we can look at a long position over here to 50%. While we're busy waiting for GBP AUD to make its move, I've also come over to CAD CHF and done the same things. Over here we've got our high, which is this high candle here, our low, which is this lowest red candle on the MACD indicator here, which will be this point. And again, we just want to identify 50%, which is more or less halfway there. And and same thing, we can go and place our short position to 50%, and we can go and place our long position to 50%. All right, so here you can see I've placed my sell limit on CAD CHF with my stop loss, sell limit, and take profit here at the 50% mark. So let's go and have a look if we can go and catch some profits. All right, so we've just tapped into the trade. Let's go and have a look if we can reach TP over here at 50%. Let's just make sure this is exactly on the 50% line, just like that, at 0.75373. Currently over here running just under $100 profit. So let's wait for this trade and have a look if we hit TP. And there you go, straight into TP. Obviously, because of the spread, I'm just going to close this manually. So let's just close that. But as you can see over here, price was literally delivered within a couple of seconds. And this trade pulled out over about $385 profit just in about 2 to 3 minutes that this trade ran. So as you can see, this does end up being quite profitable, especially if you have a couple of these trades a day and you're scalping these small moves. It takes really quick to trade. And I mean, it just takes practice. Back test this on a couple of markets. Make sure the markets that you are trading are quite stable, like on a plateaued kind of a basis. You don't want to trade markets that are looking very bearish like this. But right now, Australian dollar, Japanese yen would be a good idea. Here's another example I had on OR JPY over here, this lowest red candle, which then wicked in and hit halfway, which over here you can also look for sells, but this would have just missed our entry. So it's all about backtesting and practicing. So what I'm going to do is to help you out more with trading if you want to go and learn more. I've got a playlist on the screen here somewhere. It's called Trading 2022, where I teach all sorts of ways that I trade in institutional trading, longer term trades, trading on different time frames. There's one video that I've got, my second latest video after this video on trading, which is about 30 minutes long, on Wyckoff and S&D zones. Very valuable video which you could pair up with this. So I recommend go and click on the playlist on the screen over here, and I'll see you over there.